Republicans also hoping to unseat incumbents in Missouri and Indiana. For the latest on those races, Trace Gallagher joins us. Hey, Trace.
Hey, Tucker, the fact that President Trump made his second visit to Indiana in less than a week is a good indicator the GOP believes Republican challenger Mike Braun has a genuine shot at knocking off Indiana's incumbent Democratic Senator Joe Donnelly. The Real Clear Politics average has it a dead heat, with Donnelly at 44.3%, Braun at 43%, though the latest Fox News poll has Braun down by 7 points. But the Indianapolis Star newspaper says people waited in line for hours in Fort Wayne to get in to see President Trump's rally. Lou Holtz, a man who was also beloved in Indiana for his 11 seasons coaching Notre Dame, spoke as well tonight. But listen to what the president said. Watch.
Tomorrow, the people of Indiana are going to send Mike Braun to the U.S. Senate to keep America's economic boom surging full speed ahead.
Meantime, in the Missouri Senate race, it doesn't matter what polls you look at, it is a toss-up. The RCP average has Republican challenger Josh Hawley with a little more than a half-point lead over Missouri Democratic incumbent Claire McCaskill. The Fox News poll has them deadlocked at 43% each, and the NBC Marist poll has McCaskill up by 3 points, but that is still within the margin of error. It is notable that 54% of likely Missouri voters approve of President Trump's job performance, and in an effort to push Josh Hawley across the finish line, the president is also holding a rally in Missouri about an hour and 5 minutes from right now. Tucker.
Trace Gallagher, thanks for that. Yep. Fundamentally, most elections are about the economy. That has always been true. What's striking about the polling in this one is how many voters say they want profound change to the U.S. economy. Young people famously say they identify with socialism pretty strongly. The question is, why is that? It's not just that they're being misinformed. Is the current economy not working for them? Mark Blythe is a professor of political science and international public affairs at Brown University in Providence, and he joins us tonight. Professor, thanks for coming on. So my theory, and I think it's right, is that a lot of young people say they want real economic change because the current economy is not working for them, and the boom that we're seeing in markets isn't reflected in the economy they experience. Do you think that's true?
I think there's definitely a lot of truth in that. What a lot of your viewers will obviously feel themselves is that they're working harder constantly, but at the same time, while there's lots of employment, lots of jobs, no one's saying this economy isn't good, it's not really showing up in wages. And that's been a story that's been going on for a very long time now, all the way back to the late 70s, in fact.
Interesting. So is it also true that young people entering the labor market, say for the first 10 years of employment, 22 to 32, that they are finding themselves behind where their parents' generation was at those ages?
That's true, and they've also got something that their parents didn't have in many cases, a very large debt burden coming from student loans. So if you think about what that does, by the time that their parents were getting into their 30s, they're marrying, they're having kids, they're building houses and homes, they're forming assets, as you would say. You're paying off your debt, and you haven't had a chance to do that yet. So that's acting as a drag on their future consumption and ultimately on their lives.
What I don't understand is why this isn't causing alarm bells to go off. If your young people can't form families, by definition, your society will become less stable, but nobody seems to care. Why is that?
I think because the incentives for both parties are skewed in a really interesting way, which is the following. Old people own 80% of all the assets in the world, and they're the people that vote twice as much as young people. So if young people are too busy worrying about paying off their loans and not going out to vote, then politicians are going to go where the money and the votes are, and that's with old people, and that's what they care about.
But, I mean, don't long-term you risk having upheavals in your society? Things become really volatile, and that's bad for everybody if you don't have an economy that allows people to get vested in the society?
Where it's particularly dangerous, less than the social upheaval, is in the financial sector. So we all borrow against our futures, and we try and use that cash wisely to invest in ourselves. But if your wages haven't been rising, people are borrowing for consumption. And if at the end of the day their wages ain't going to rise, they're not going to be able to pay that off over the long term, and that puts big stresses into the financial sector.
That is really prescient. Nobody is talking about that. You're one of the very few who is, and I'm always grateful when you come on the show. Thank you, Professor.
Pleasure.